So we're ready for our next section, blade restoration. We're going to be using greaseless compounds to do this restoration. So what you see here is, of course, our razor. And you also notice that I have these 6-inch wheels that I just picked up at Lowe's for about $7 a piece, I think. And they're a fairly firm variety of cloth wheel, and these are actually loaded with different grits of greaseless compound. You can purchase greaseless compound from several vendors on the internet. They come in these big tubes, and you'll see me apply some greaseless compound to a wheel after I've expended one of the loadings of it. After applying greaseless compound, you need to let it dry out. This takes about 15 minutes or so. Once the compound dries out, this feels a lot like very coarse sandpaper. That's how you get the cutting action. Here's a tip. Use 2 of your lowest grit wheels, in my case an 80 grit greaseless compound, and as you use up one, the other will be ready and waiting for you, and you'll be able to reload this one with additional compound. As it continues to spin, it will dry out and you can use up the contents of this wheel. When that one runs out, you can load it up with your with the compound again and move back to this one while that one dries out. And in doing so, you can continually keep your blade on the wheels there. And it saves you a lot of time having to wait for the wheels to dry out. One thing that you should always keep next to the bench here is a glass of ice water and also a towel so that you can dip the razor in the ice water, dry it off, and then continue back on the wheel. We do not want to get this blade up to a point where it loses its temper. And so long as you are careful and don't leave the blade on the wheel for too long a period of time, we don't have to worry about that. So as you watch me do this, you'll actually see that after a period of time, I can feel that the razor is getting a little bit warm to the touch. Anything beyond warm, it could potentially damage the razor. So we just want to, once it's warm, we stop, we dip it in the water, we wipe it off with a towel, and then we return to the wheel after it is cooled to the touch again. This is a Delta variable speed 1700 to 3400 RPM grinder / buffer, and I found that it's sufficient for what I've been using it for. I know a lot of guys are a fan of the Baldors, Jets, lots of other brands. Personally, when I put together my little workshop here, I did it on the cheap. So again, it's been sufficient, and these are actually available at Lowe's or Home Depot, the large chains. So I'm going to start buffing here. It'll be a little loud, and I'm sure I'll end up time-lapsing some of it so that you don't have to witness a full hour of me running a greaseless 80 grit. So here we go. So again, here's our blade before, and you'll notice that as we begin to work on this, it'll start to regain some of its original color, and we'll lose that beautiful old patina that everybody loves, right? Right now, I will be putting on my respirator, so you won't hear me talk. After about 10 minutes on the buffer, I found that there was actually a considerable amount of pitting underneath that patina that looked quite smooth. So you can actually see here, if you look closely, that the areas of the blade here are heavily pitted, and there's going to have to be a lot of metal removed for me to get down to the point where this will be completely smooth. The other side of the blade, again, significant amount of pitting, and so this is going to require a decent amount of time on that 80 grit greaseless compound in order to get through all of that pitting. And we don't want to move up to a higher grit until all of the pitting is gone. If you move up too quickly, you will just waste time. You can see the tang as well, some pitting. The one thing that we really caught a break on this razor is the incredibly deep stamps on the blade here, and even the tang as well. These are going to turn out wonderful even after we remove all of that pitting that you can see there. The stamps are far deeper than how deep the pits go, so that's really good. So we'll take it back to the buffer.